3, 2, 1, action.
Hello, today we'll be presenting about Stanislavski. My name is Dominic.
My name is Raymond.
I am Edward.
My name is Cameron.
So, an overview of who Stanislavski is. He is a Russian theater practitioner who was widely recognized for directing a lot of his productions and also being a great character actor. He was born on January 5th, 1863, and he died on August 7, 1938. His father was a manufacturer and his mother was a daughter of French actors, and he got a start from his parents' stage at the age of 14, and he went on from there. What were his ideas? His ideas was that actors should build characters' behavior through precise, solid, and convincing performances by directing believable actions, not to the audience, but to the other actors on stage.
The magic what if. The magic what if was to put an actor within their character. So they would put themselves into certain scenarios, wondering what could happen within this situation, and they would see if it fits their character's persona or their character's energy. So the question they also ask most with this exercise is, how would I react to this if it happened to me? And from there they would start performing. This method can also help actors understand the emotions and thoughts behind the process that they need to help create the scene. The method is also used to help actors with their immersive imagination or expand the ideas in a particular scene. This helps the actors create and discover new backgrounds or new facts about their characters. So the extent of using magic what if is to help create more of an understanding to the knowledge of the person's character. So the magic what if in general is to focus on the elements for this method. You would need to be in relaxation, you need to have concentration of attention to detail. So you have to really be visual with this. You have to focus on certain details, particular small details. So if you're out and about, you'd be viewing, so you can base your character off somebody, or you can see these small characteristics done by everybody in the world, and therefore it is easier for you to create small traits for a character. You also need to have good communication, and also active listening is important in this, and the emotion memory of a character within yourself.
So, I will be talking about the exercises that teachers can use to show their students about Stanislavski's method. So, the first exercise is mainly meant for kind of a big group, but it can also be done in a small group if you go around the circle more times. So, students sit in a circle and choose a sentence or a phrase of dialogue that's like commonly used every day. For example, I'm going to go to the shops. And then one by one they like say it around the circle, and as they pass the dialogue around, they make it sound more and more unnatural. And then afterwards, after that's like it's been around all the way, they'll change the dialogue and then they'll make it sound more and more natural. And the second exercise is mainly meant for us, like one person. So they'll walk around the room, and whilst doing so, he'll imagine a scene, for example, a forest, a swamp, or a city with lots of noise perhaps, and they'll take in the sounds that they hear and then things that they see, and then take them into the scene. And the main aim of it is to imagine it as vividly as possible. And the third exercise you can do it with a monologue or doing by yourself, or you can do it with 2 or more people. They'll role play a mini scene that the students can relate to. So it has to be something that everyone can sort of understand pretty well. after planning out the dialogue and the action and doing the scene once, well, then they'll do it again, but the next time they'll say what the characters are actually thinking. It doesn't have to be a very mundane scene, but it's quite a bit easier to think about what the characters are thinking about if it is. So what the exercises help to like develop in the students. Exercise 1 helps with like talking and how to improve volume, pitch and stress. Exercise 2 helps a lot with like imagination, and it helps a lot with the magic if and understanding the stage and also the characters. And exercise 3 thinks about objectives, tactics, obstacles and beats. Beats are changed in either physical world, conversation or tactic. An example of a beat from our play is here when Enid thinks everyone thinks that she's crazy, and then she just doesn't address it afterwards and immediately changes the conversation. So this beat is a change in topic of conversation. Yeah, moving on.
So I'll be talking about how we can apply these techniques to our acting. So just as Edward said, we can use the magic what if when we give certain circumstances to a character to understand what they might do in any given situation. So you're supposed to use your imagination for this. So for example, there's a scene that you're talking on the phone with a family member and you receive devastating news that your mom has cancer. Now, how can we apply the magic what if to this? So what if your mom neglected you for your whole childhood, and so you can either feel overjoyed because she's dead, or you can feel upset, slightly upset that you've lost the parental figure. Or what if you found out you were adopted and you found out that your biological mom had passed away? So you try to imagine yourself, put yourself into the character's shoes. Would you feel angry that your parents never told you about it, or would you just feel sad because you thought your mom abandoned you? So another technique we can use is emotional memory. So Stanislavski asked the actor to call on a memory similar to the character situation. It doesn't have to be necessarily the same memory, rather just a sense of empathy. So here's an exercise we can use. If we're supposed to act out an emotion of anger, think of a time when you were really angry, like you tripped over, like for example, you tripped over nothing. Now you write down those emotions on paper using all the 5 senses like sight and hearing and smell, and you write all of them down in excruciating detail. But he states that this method is quite exhausting because it requires the actor to keep keep recalling a memory. It might also cause some damage psychologically because you might have to keep recalling a traumatic memory that isn't pleasant to you.
These are the references that we used for our presentation. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you.